Hi there. Hi. So my name is Sarah. Um, I'm a socialist feminist activist, and I've been involved in politics now, I'd say, for 16, 17 years, and I want to make a vlog, well, a series of them actually, to really sort of share my experiences of activism and what I think are some of the problems and the difficulties currently. You'll have to bear with me because although I'm very much into photography and art and stuff, I'm a real beginner when it comes to filming and stuff, so forgive the bad lighting and the fact that I'm not even looking directly into the camera, as it were. But bear with me, and maybe, hopefully, you'll get something out of this. So yeah, I first got active in politics when I was a student at Swansea University. This is quite a long time ago now. And I was very angry at the Labour government, at Tony Blair's government. One of his first acts when he came to power when I was 17 was to introduce tuition fees, thereby removing free education for my generation and everyone ever since. And I think the fact that I'm from a Catholic background and just always been quite an intense kind of person was a factor in why I sort of embraced the party that I joined so much. That party is called the Socialist Party, and I was an active member for like 12 and a half years. I was absolutely devoted to it until it ended in a very horrible, humiliating way. And I got involved in this party because I just really wanted to change the world and all that kind of jazz, and I really was absolutely dedicated to it, and I really think that I transferred a lot of my long past religious conviction. I can't say I was really ever a believer, but I think that because I was brought up in a way where I needed to have a strong belief system, then I transferred my rejection of Catholicism, because I rejected it completely and completely rebelled against my parents in just about every possible way. Transferred that into being a so-called revolutionary. Did lots and lots of campaigning. It was great experiences as well as the shitty ones, but I just ran into difficulty with the Socialist Party and got frustrated at just how sexist it was, and just the total intolerance of anyone daring to question or challenge the leadership in any way. And that's really at the heart of what happened, in terms of me in the end being kind of like kicked out, really, although in theory I voluntarily resigned. But I don't want to go into all that too much right now, because I just want to make some general kind of comments, really, and just also to account for what's happened since I left in April 2013, same week as Thatcher's death. Just tried to be an independent socialist instead. I'm very stubborn and just kept on going to protests and stuff, even if it meant turning up on my own. That's what I'm like. I believe what I believe. I was a member of Left Unity for 2 years, between, I think, 2013 to 2015. And then I did eventually leave Left Unity as well, but that was mainly because I just thought that they were very, very soft and really sowing too many illusions in Jeremy Corbyn and the prospects of the working class reclaiming the Labour Party, which, you know, the working class has never actually had any control of the Labour Party. And also, you know, the sort of illusions in Syriza and Greece as well. So those are the reasons why I left Unity. But I have to say it was a much more of a positive experience than my experience in the Socialist Party. And one of the things that I really liked about Left Unity was you could say what you think. You could express your own views. It was the total opposite to this authoritarian sort of party line culture of the Socialist Party. And what I particularly relished from Left Unity was how much they welcomed socialist feminists like myself, and that they really shared my conviction, or at least some of them do, not all of them, how important it is to challenge sexism in the labour movement, and this conspiracy, really, I'd say, of covering up cases of sexual assault and abuse and domestic violence against women at the hands of so-called socialist men, which stands in sharp contrast to the Socialist Party. Since then, like I said, I've stayed active in protests in the movement, as it were, if you can, because I'm stubborn like that. And until recently, I was part of what was conceived as a very beautiful project to unite socialist feminist women on the left. That project's called the Screaming Violets Collective. I was part of that until quite recently, but basically I've been sort of ostracised and kind of kicked out of that now, because 2 months ago, or something like that, maybe a bit longer, I publicly online expressed some reservations about the exact tactics that some trans activists have been using, particularly in London, to attempt to silence any kind of discussion or debate about the Gender Recognition Act. I've always been very, very sort of like pro including trans people, and still kind of like, you know, where I'm coming from. But when I heard reports that radical feminists were being physically intimidated and attacked by a handful of trans activists because they were trying to discuss their reservations and concerns about the full implications of the Gender Recognition Act, as a result of that, the rest of, or the main sort of leaders, if you can describe anyone like that, the Screaming Violets sort of witch hunted me, really, and started calling me crazy things, like saying I'm a Nazi and a TERF, which is bullshit, but there you go. And yeah, so I've been kicked out of that now, so, but nevertheless I'm very stubborn, and I'm determined in my own way to continue to try and communicate with people, share my experiences, and to really try and get across that sexism on the left is a massive problem. Still is, but also that's kind of in a way linked to, even though in other ways it's a bit separate from, there is a connection between the cultic character of so much of the left, the sort of, all the thought policing that goes on, this complete intolerance really for any kind of independent critical thinking, which was particularly, or is rather particularly the case in Leninist organisations like the Socialist Party, but also I'd say as well, some of the main most vocal advocates of sort of identity politics type trans activism, hesitate to say this, but yeah, sort of it's not possible apparently to question or express any reservations in any way about that a particular ideology, and I just think that these are all reflections of a very unhealthy culture on the hard left, which is elitist, cliquey, as just like competing social cliques with very little connection to the actual working class, in my honest opinion. And there's just this thought policing that goes on, which I just think is very alienating for anyone who's just, you know, not a political activist, which to be fair is most people, and that this needs to change. This lack of accountability needs to change, and that the whole left really needs to get its act together. But I'm not convinced that it can do that. It's so male dominated, it's also very white, it's very so many problems, and I just, something's got to give, I think, and that's why I've decided to start vlogging, because you know, I can't stop believing in change and the possibility of revolutionary change, and I think all our voices matter, and yes, that includes mine. So stay posted, bear with me for my highly amateur video here. I will get better, I promise, and hope that you'll stay tuned. That's cheesy, isn't it? Anyway, there you go. Right, take care, and let the struggle continue.